44.
The
He was the main culprit.
Fiesta, Orange, Sugar, and the Tostitos BCS National Championship game. ESPN, the BCS lives here.
Just moments ago, passions running high here as the two teams came out of their locker room. And a Boise State player had to be restrained by the coaches and pushed back.
It's like Alan Mooney maybe getting the best of himself as far as the emotion. This has been building for the last 2 or 3 days as these two teams got to Las Vegas. And you know how it is in bowl games. You get together, and there have been a couple altercations where these two teams have been anxious to get out in the field and have a chance to get at each other and play.
Well, you know, just a few weeks ago, Boise State was in the battle for a possible berth in the national championship game, and then disaster struck. And Tom Rinaldi, you have to feel so much for the kicker at Boise, Kyle Brontzman, missing those two, one in regulation, one in overtime. What's his psyche like? I know you've spent time with him.
Well, Brent, I had a chance to speak to Kyle Brontzman a short while ago out here on the field. He said his mindset is very positive. He's really looking forward to this opportunity. He considers if the conditions stay the way they are, light rain falling, his range is about 50 yards. Of course, the last time he came to the state of Nevada, he lived through that nightmare. Those two short missed field goals costing Boise State a likely spot in a BCS bowl game. In the wake of that, he went through hateful messages and violent threats. A terrible week. But when he got back to Boise for senior day, a great show of support in the stands from Bronco fans, which really meant a lot to him. However, when he came out for his next field goal, 40 yards from the left hash, Brontzman missed. He's missed his last 3 field goals, Brent. You have to consider if it comes down to it, if he plays a key role in this game, you just have to wonder what will be going through Kyle Brontzman's mind.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. Thank you very much for that. I want to go back on what Herbie said. We had the coin flip out in the middle of the field about how tensions have been rather high since a couple players had a verbal exchange when they were waiting to get a massage. And there is Devontae Christopher. And he had a tweet which has helped fire up this Boise State team. Also, some of you have seen it. If you haven't, I can't wait to get out here with those Boise State, or should I say Girlsy State. They a bunch of cheerleaders. And that via Twitter. Now, you can just imagine, Herbie, Kyle Whittingham's reaction to that.
Yeah, I mean, this is something you hope as a head coach. Your players are not going to lose their control as far as the self-control, and the emotions get the best of them. This is a whole different thing now with tweeting. You know, with players, I don't know why coaches allow players to have that freedom, because you're going to get an immature player, you're going to get somebody that loses their cool and puts something up, and you don't think Chris Peterson and Boise State's used that as motivation to get their team ready to play?
Well, Utah won the toss, and they elected to defer. So Kyle Whittingham's team will kick it away and then go on defense against Kellen Moore. Jeremy Avery is one of the return men back for the Broncos. The Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas, is ready to unfold. It'll be interesting, Herbie, to see what kind of hitting we have here early on after that exchange. I'll tell you that right now.
I think it's going to be physical, and it's going to be a little bit chippy here early.
Nick Marsh will kick it off. Avery from the 5. And Avery is out to about the 22-yard line. And here comes Kellen Moore. You know, he's only 6 foot, probably 190 pounds soaking wet. But, oh, is he accurate?
Very, very accurate. And tonight, I think the big thing will be his decision-making, because Utah will bring a lot of pressure. He's got to be able to decipher that pressure and get the ball out of his hands as fast as he can. 33 touchdowns and 5 interceptions tells you everything. Last year, 39 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions.
They'll open in the gun. Chris Peterson would like to strike early and often here. And right away, they put it in Titus Young's hands with the first reception. Herbie, let's take a look at tonight's high-performance players brought to you by Powerade.
Let's start with Doug Martin, who I think is a spark plug. As much as Kellen Moore in the passing game gets the attention, really things get started with Doug Martin. Big physical back, even though he's a bit undersized. And Titus Young, first play of the game, they got the ball to him on the outside. This is his last game as a Bronco. 7 of his 9 touchdowns for 40 yards or more. So the senior anxious to make some plays in one-on-one matchups against Utah.
Staying right in the gun, and that slip screen to the outside, and down goes the running back Avery, who is an excellent receiver coming out of the backfield. Now the offensive lines tonight are going to be a huge story. One of them will prove supreme before this evening's over. Potter, Kellogg, Bird, Lawrence, and Slater up front for the Broncos.
And Slater, the right tackle, especially in third down situations, a little bit slower foot. So a lot of times Boise State has to help with him in pass protection. Remember, they've only allowed 7 sacks all year. That's 3rd in the nation.
This would be huge for the Utah defense to start a 3-and-out on the first series against the Broncos. Moore determined not to give it to him, fumbles, and the Utes have recovered it. They pounce on it at the 19-yard line. Christian Cox and Lamar Chapman. So what a turn of events here in the early going for Utah.
And Brent, you made a great point about what a great opportunity it would be for Utah. The blitz is going to come from Chapman from the right side, but Cox also has a chance to just beat his man around the edge. He gets right around Nate Potter. Between he and Chapman, they get the pressure, which again, this Boise State team's only allowed 7 sacks all year. In the first, 3rd and long, Utah's blitz package works to perfection for the Utes.
First down at the 20-yard line. The young man who recovered that ball. And now we will see what Terrence Kane, remember Herbie told you at the top of our broadcast, he can run. They've even been practicing, we are told, a little option during the week. Certainly have not used much of it during the season. And there is a little bit of the read option, and Boise was reading it just as well. And that's a nice play by Winterswijk, who is an outstanding defensive end.
Terrence Kane has made 10 starts. He's 9-1 as a starter when Jordan Wynn has been banged up last year, and this year he's done a nice job of stepping in, completing 70% of his passes this year, and for his career 66. But you know, I think he is known because he's got some mobility, and there might be some more quarterback design run, but he also can throw the football, and that'll be a big key tonight for Utah's offense.
And here Herbie, 2nd and 13, they might look to put it up. They wanted to ease him in. That's what the offensive coaches wanted to do, but 2nd and 13 presents a different problem here. And he will put it away and take off, getting back to the line of scrimmage, and this will be 3rd and long. Herbie, as we take a look at Utah's backs and receivers, who should we keep an eye on here tonight?
Well, I think that Matt Asiata, number 4, gives them the power back to try to avoid that big 3rd and long situations. But Jeremy Brooks is his go-to guy, 85 on the outside.
If they have to go to a field goal here in the early going, Joe Phillips is a good kicker for Utah. Right now they spread the field, 5 receivers for Kane.
Boise State likes to try to confuse the offensive line. A lot of pre-snap movement.
They rush 4. Kane moves away and incomplete, and that will bring up 4th down after the turnover. Gavins with coverage for the Broncos, and a field goal unit trotting onto the field.
This is what Boise State likes to do. They have 45 sacks on the year, Brent. They're 2nd in the nation, but it's 3rd down. They're trying to confuse not just Terrence Kane, but all this movement is trying to create some confusion. And the right tackle here, Bergstrom, gets confused. I mean, he does not pick up his man. He comes down low to the left, and he's not able to pick up the pressure.
So here is Joe Phillips. 39-yarder on its way, and he pulled it to the left. The Broncos turn it over on their first series, and then the Utes miss a field goal. Early game jitters, perhaps. So you look down at the strip here in Las Vegas, starting to fill up. This is one of the great cities for a New Year's Eve celebration. You're looking for a place to party. Broncos football back at the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas. And there is that deep handoff. Herbie, you've been waiting for them to come with the running game with Martin.
Martin, the ball carrier.
Doug Martin, a big part of their offense. When they get Doug Martin running, that tends to set everything else up. And Utah's defense coming into this game, I think they knew that they've got to stop Doug Martin. And you have Shelby on one side, Cox, who made the big play there against Kellen Moore, two very important guys. And Martinez and Walker, 1 and 2 on this team. Both former walk-ons can make a lot of plays against the run game.
Kellen Moore looks at a 2nd and 6 jet end around action. There's a penalty flag thrown on this play as Martin breaks the daylight. Out near midfield, but a penalty flag back at the 22-yard line, and Kellen Moore is indicating that this one's coming back.
It's like maybe a holding call here.
On the offense, number 47. That's a 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Dan Paul, the junior fullback.
The misdirection is a play that I think that Boise State trying to take advantage of Utah being a little bit over-aggressive, fly into the football. They're pinning their ears back, coming after this offense. Good call, but of course the holding call negates it. But something that if you're a Boise State fan, that play is something I'm sure they'll go back to again.
Moore eyes the defensive front. Utah shows pressure up front. And they gang up on Martin as a result of it. They were jamming the point of attack that time.
Kyle Whittingham is the head coach and former defensive coordinator for Urban Meyer for many years, is a coach that believes in stopping the run first. No matter what you're doing offensively, he wants to have his defense programmed to get physical at the point of attack and not allow a team to run the ball. So I think a great matchup is going to be Boise State wants to run the ball with Doug Martin. Who will win that battle? Because right now, Utah's winning it. Here's another 3rd and long for Boise.
Now Kellen spreads the field. Has plenty of time. Incomplete. And Walker was able to get to that football that time, and their words are being exchanged on the field. You could see Burton, the cornerback, was going mouth to mouth with Titus Young.
This time, Utah does a good job on 3rd and down, disguising the pressure and then dropping 8 into coverage. And right now, it's strange to see Kellen Moore and this Boise State offense out of sync in their passing game.
So here we've got Bronzman, and back is Shaky Smithson. He could be the secret weapon in this game. He's a terrific return man for the Utes, and Bronzman makes him go out of bounds. Outstanding punt, and don't the New York Giants wish that they had that play in their repertoire. Well, let's take a look now at the season recap at how these two teams got here. Let us start this evening with the Utes. Their 3rd straight 10-win season. They were 2nd in the Mountain West. They were ranked 5th before 2 straight losses. TCU jumped all over them, and then Notre Dame beat them the following week. They have won their last 9 bowls. That's one of the longest records in history. And now they go to the shotgun. And Kane will hand it off on the inside, and there's a gaping hole for 11 yards. Shaky Smithson moved to the backfield so he doesn't return a punt, and they put him back there in the backfield, Herbert.
Well, he has running back skills. They always want to try to get him the ball out in space as a wide receiver. He plays the X in this offense, which is the go-to position in this offense, but showing a little diversity, getting into that backfield, going back to his roots and showing that he can run the football. Pretty physical run there by the receiver. That's
right. The pistol with Eddie Wide, young man who played high school football right here in Las Vegas, is right behind Kane in the backfield. This look certainly hurt Boise up at Nevada. And Kane, Broncos stripping it away, but we're not able to get it on the ground. Johnson was on top of the quarterback.
Great point about Nevada in the pistol offense, because with Terrence Kane back there as a mobile quarterback, if you're running more of a traditional zone read with a back to your left or to your right, it's not the same downhill approach as an option attack that Colin Kaepernick runs at Nevada. But this time, Kane shows that Utah has practiced the pistol, and it's something that Boise State's got to be ready to defend.
Needs 6 yards here on this second down. Kane on the move, gonna throw deep, got a target open, got him inside the 5-yard line. Jeremy Brooks, the senior from League City, Texas, and the Utes are in business.
One-on-one coverage on the outside. Good call here to get him away from the pressure. Rolling him to the outside, has plenty of time to be able to make his decision, and gets the ball one-on-one.
And a penalty. Downfield, number 85 was covered, making him not eligible to catch the pass. That's a 5-yard penalty, second down.
An illegal formation, and the youngster who caught it was the offender. And so it's coming back, and now Kyle wants an explanation. Not completely happy with what he's hearing.
They're expecting, I think what they're trying to explain to Kyle Whittingham is that Brooks needed to be off the line of scrimmage. Here he is up at the line of scrimmage. Covered up there. And a mental error here for Utah cost them a big play.
So they come back with an option play, and that's Smithson again. So the Utes come crashing across the 35-yard line.
And Boise State's strength was defending the run all year. And they gave up 269 to Nevada. And a week later against Utah State, they gave up 250 yards rushing. And all of it, they've had some time to get ready, to make some adjustments, to get ready for Terrence Kane. And early in this game, Shaky Smithson getting back there, getting some running room, and making this Boise State defense pay for it.
First down and 10 for the Utes. Back to the pistol. Fake again, and Kane steps away from trouble. Fumble. And Boise pounces on this one. Second turnover of the game. And Chase Baker, number 97, recovers this fumble for Boise.
Jamar Taylor this time brought the pressure. And I think it caught the left guard, Schladeroff, off guard. See the bottom 21? See, watch how he does not give up on this play. And right there, that relentless effort from Jamar Taylor at 5'11", about 190 pounds. He comes back to chase down Terrence Kane and caught him from behind and knocked the ball loose. Huge turnover for Boise State.
So we've got a turnover. We've also got a scoreless Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas.
Tight, we have you. Massages from
ESPN College Football, the Maaco Bowl Las Vegas, is brought to you by Maaco, your collision repair and auto painting experts. You're going to love doing business with us. The Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet? And Audi, truth in engineering.
Well, just part of the build-up to a bowl game. And so many of these youngsters have a great time coming to all the various bowl games around the country and competitions. That pie eating contest, they told me that was a draw. So here we go. Boise State has been throttled so far by this Utah defense here, Herbie. 8:18 to go in the first quarter. Kellen Moore going to try to put it up against a three-man rush. Steps out and incomplete. Tyler Shoemaker, the intended target, but we've got to say something about the Utah defense so far.
Well, this Utah defense is plugged in to Kellen Moore and Boise State. They've done a great job in their preparation. We'll see if this holds up. Remember, this is a Boise State offense that's averaged 200 yards a game rushing and 319 passing.
This time a 4-man rush against it, and they throw underneath to Titus Young. Young with that great speed gets to midfield with that reception where it will be first down, and that's their best play of the night so far.
And the challenging thing in defending Kellen Moore is you can have a good series, you can have 2 in a row, but he's not going to let up. He will continue to attack. They'll make their adjustments, and Kellen Moore will make you pay if you're out of position. And that time he found his open man Titus Young and got the ball out in rhythm. One of the first times we've seen that all night from Moore.
After the 16-yard gain, they hand it back to Martin, and he pounds into the middle for a couple of yards.
You know, Kellen Moore can't carry the load on his own tonight. Doug Martin has really taken that next step as a ball carrier this year. When DJ Harper went down early, I believe in the game that we had week 1 against Virginia Tech, he and Jeremy Avery had to carry the load. Martin is a big key tonight to attack this Utah defense.
Boise changing the play. Here comes linebacker pressure. Kellen Moore completes it out of bounds to Danny Paul, the fullback, a safety valve receiver.
There's Derek Shelby, a defensive end, is known to rush the quarterback, but in his zone pressure on that play, he's dropping out into the flat. Right now, Kyle Whittingham is a head coach calling a lot of these defenses. He is really showing a lot of different looks to Kellen Moore.
3rd and 6. The Utes rush 4. Moore incomplete, threw high to Austin Pettis. That's the first time he's gone after number 2. And it was a little bit high for even a fine athlete like Pettis to pull down. And here comes the 3rd down.
Kellen Moore
goes to 4th and 6.
Rick Kellen just not quite in rhythm yet. And when eventually he will get there. But right now, between maybe a little bit of rust and the way Utah's defense is playing, he's not been able to get into sync as a passer yet.
Brodsman back, and it's a fake. Here comes, they're going to throw back to Brodsman. The Potter, he dropped it at the 37-yard line. Chris Potter's pass, and he couldn't hang on. He was all alone, and it would have been a first down.
As if Bronsman didn't have enough concerns mentally to begin with coming into this game. You see the fans with the wide right, of course, the difficult game against Nevada that cost Boise State late in that game a chance to secure a victory. Here, and this is a tough catch in his defense, and the ball comes back to him, and he's got defenders around him, and his eyes just came up, and I think he thought about where he was going to run before he secured the football. If he falls down right there, he's got a first down.
So Utah, Asiata is the running back with Kane this time. Asiata getting back to the line of scrimmage. It's that tough defensive front here at Boise.
You brought up a good point in our meeting this morning. It's going to be fun tonight to watch Utah's big, powerful offensive line against a very feisty defensive front from Boise State with the linebackers and the way Billy Wynn, who's from Las Vegas, number 90, and Chase Baker, the 2 inside guys for Boise State. It's going to be a war in the trenches tonight.
Yeah, it has been, I think, so far. Here's a good look at the middle of that offensive line. Zane Taylor, he's a senior from Utah. Now Wide and Asiata both in that backfield. Kane has shown he can throw on the run, Herbie. That one incomplete to Smithson. But he's not afraid to move it over to the right side. He's shown pretty good authority with the pass.
And Aaron Roderick, as a play caller, I think respects Boise State's defensive line. I mentioned Boise has 45 sacks this year, which is second in the nation. Their defensive line alone has 33 sacks. That's most than a lot of teams have. So just the front 4 this year collectively have 33 sacks, and I think that's a lot of the reason why they're moving Terrence Kane away from the front, is the respect they have for that front 4.
Third and 10 to the middle, and Shake and Baker's got it. First and 10 out of bounds, far side, Shaky Smithson.
The linebacker this time loses him, and you're right, Brent. Shaky Smithson right now, known as a wide receiver, but has a background as a running back. Well, he matches up very well against the linebacker Tevis and makes him pay for it, runs right away from him for the first down, which is something that really hurt this team down the stretch. You can see in their 2 losses, they averaged 3rd and 8+, and they did not convert very well on 3rd down.
Remember, Utah's had twice as many yards here tonight as Boise State. Remember, they had the big play called back even. So they're moving the football behind Terrence Kane, and Kane's going to go deep again. And Shaky couldn't hang on that time. Johnson had coverage, but they had him wide open.
They slipped him right out of the backfield, and Darryl Cree, the middle linebacker, did not run with him. He did not account for him. 52, watch him. Watch how Smithson runs right by him. Middle linebacker in that coverage has to be able to run with him. You cannot let an offensive receiver run by you as a middle linebacker down the middle of the field. This first mistake we've seen Shaky Smithson make tonight.
But so far, Kane, and remember he's playing quarterback because of an injury, but he's looked fine. And dances away from trouble. Can he throw it away? Yes, he does. And there is a penalty flag back at the 45-yard line.
You can see why they want to move him around and that the launch points around.
Number 70 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Tony Bergstrom, the right tackle.
When he sits in that pocket, Boise State is putting a lot of pressure on him. And Terrence Kane hasn't played a ton of football this year. And I think for a quarterback that's not played a ton of football, and you have a background of being a little bit more mobile, you're a little bit more comfortable moving away from that pressure as opposed to just sitting there waiting for a play to develop.
So Kane stays back to the gun. They spread the field. 5 wide receivers on this 2nd and 20. Boise rushes 4, and so Kane against that defense picked up about 4 yards before Tevis brings him down.
One of the things that the Utah coaches told us as we got ready for this game is, again, down the stretch, a latter part of their season where they struggled a bit offensively, is they weren't staying on schedule with down and distance, and they faced a ton of 3rd and longs because of self-destructing. Here's another example. You talked about the holding call with Bergstrom. Now it really negated this good drive, and now they're facing another 3rd and long.
Kane rolls the pocket to the right, beats the problem, goes deep, and it's dropped. Jeremy Brooks, the young man who lined up illegally on the 1 reception inside the 5, now drops it, but there was great pressure from Winston Venable, number 17, a very, very tough defender.
How about the effort here by Kane to get away from Venable, though? He shows some strength there, keeps his eyes and his focus downfield, and puts the ball up and over coverage, and I think it surprised Brooks.
Now the punt with Potter back deep, and they'll let it go on into the end zone. So when you come back, it will be Boise State football on the 20. We're scoreless in Las Vegas. Maaco, Las Vegas ball. Utah and Boise State are scoreless. 4:17 left in the first, and Kirk Herbstreit's favorite mobile studio, the DirecTV studio, has made its way to Vegas, on its way to the national championship game on January 10th in Glendale, Arizona. I got to say, though, that really came in handy for both of us.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. You were down there putting in some time, right?
A little voiceover work. Jeremy Avery now is the back. And during commercial, Herbie, you were saying this Boise State offense has got to crank it up a little bit.
Yeah, just barely crossed midfield 1 time so far in this game.
Well, here's Pettis, and he's going to get thrown back by this Utah defense. I think the story of the game has been 2 things, and they're both pro-Utah. The defense, number 1, But I'm very impressed with this backup quarterback, Terrence Kane, and the way he's thrown the ball tonight.
Boise State very fortunate to be sitting at 0-0 in this game because of the way, if Utah wouldn't have dropped a few passes and made a few mental errors, they'd be dominating this game on a scoreboard too.
Here's Pettis again, and this will be 3rd down at about 5. Chapman makes the tackle.
Again, when you defend Boise, you see the miscues. 1 fumble loss, some drop passes. They've not converted yet on 3rd down. But against Kellen Moore, it's one thing to do it for 2 or 3 or 4 series. You better keep putting the pressure on him because it's a matter of time till he finds his rhythm.
3rd down. There's the 1st down. Pettis will pick it up. Pettis sat down in the middle of that zone, knew where he was, and then quickly picked up the 1st down for the Broncos.
And 41 of his 59 receptions this year have gone for 1st downs. And you hit the point. He sits down in the zone as well as any receiver, recognizing coverage that I saw the entire year this year in college football.
Boise comes with its version of the pistol, and Avery breaks it for 12 yards and another 1st down. And the Broncos are trying to get something going. They force the freshman Blecken to make the stop, and he's a safety.
And if Boise State wants to get the rhythm going and they want to get Kellen Moore going, it's going to start again with Doug Martin and Jeremy Avery in this running game and trying to control the line of scrimmage.
There's Avery picking up 2 more.
Utah is so big up front. The linebackers make most of the tackles, but they are very stout in the interior of their defense. Makes it tough for Boise State and this offensive line to get a push. And that's going to be the challenge here tonight for Kellen Moore. Is can they get enough from that running game to take some of the pressure off of the passing game?
Now they spread the field. Kellen Moore comes in underneath and short of the 1st down. That completion by Tyler Shoemaker. Between them, these 2 teams have lost only 3 games. 1 lost by Boise State and 2 by Utah. Kellen Moore from the gun snaps it off complete, and hold on. Penalty flag comes flying. Side judge threw the penalty flag, and he's coming out to the referee on the far side. Chris Peterson and Kellen Moore are going to want an explanation here.
Ineligible downfield. Number 89 was covered and went downfield. That's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's a 2nd covered receiver play we've had tonight. Costly for Utah early, and now Shoemaker commits the...
How many games did you and I call this year? 12, 14, 13, 14? I don't know if we saw that call all year.
I don't think we did.
We've seen it twice in this 1st quarter.
3rd down and 8 as the result of that.
But for Pettis, he's up at the top of your screen. Number 2, his go-to man on 3rd down.
Martin and Avery are both in that backfield. Utah puts 4 linemen down. Under pressure, intercepted as a result of it. Picked off by Walker. Walker at the 35 and out of bounds, but it was the heat on Kellen Moore that forced him to snap it off. And again, it is that Utah defense forcing the issue here tonight.
But they are doing a great job of getting pressure, and especially on 3rd down. And I'll tell you, Christian Cox, we can talk about blitzing all we want, and stunts and different movement that you want, but the defensive line just getting pressure and winning the battle. There's a little bit of movement there, and the pressure allowed the defense to make the play, and it forced Kellen Moore to get rid of the football. And I don't even think he saw Walker. Walker did a good job of reading his eyes.
Yeah, he did a great job. And so here comes Terrence Kane, and he has Eddie Wide alongside him as the running back just to the quarterback's right. And Terrence Kane. Now the coaches are confident enough to start putting it up on 1st down, but it'll be 2nd down coming up. Pressure from Baker by the Broncos, the young man who made the interception.
Baker has had a great year. Billy Wynn gets most of the attention up front, but Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, telling me on the field before the game that Chase Baker's had as good a year as anybody on their defense. Powerful, 4.5 sacks, known for his size, but has enough quickness to be able to get that penetration like you just saw there on Kane.
2nd down and 10. Flanker screens incomplete. That was a forward pass. Brooks was the intended receiver. Well, Capital One Bowl Week continues Thursday night with the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl as Navy makes its 7th straight bowl appearance against the San Diego State Aztecs. And Herbie, San Diego State, one of the better stories in the country this year. Brady Hoke did a great job with that team.
They throw the football very, very well. In fact, when they played Utah, they threw for over 500 yards against this Utah defense. So
we've seen here tonight how good this defense is.
That's right.
And I think Boise State now realizes what they're in for here tonight. 3rd down and 10. There's Kane again. Complete. Short of the 1st down. Well short of it. Brooks working an underneath route.
That's the beauty of getting pressure with 4 on 3rd down. When you can get pressure with 4 and drop 7 into coverage, especially against an inexperienced quarterback, you can get him many times to throw the ball underneath and then run to the football and secure it before they pick up the 1st down.
So Joe Phillips will attempt his 2nd field goal of the night. He was wide left. This is a 44-yarder. On its way, looks long enough. Got it. Utah strikes first. A 44-yard Phillips field goal puts Utah ahead of heavily favored Boise State. Marcus Peterson and Boise State find themselves trailing here as Utah kicks a 44-yard field goal set up, remember, by the Chaz Walker interception. And Herbie, he's a young man from Farmington, Utah, played at Davis High School. He was all-state, all-region, all-county safety. And, of course, he's now a fine linebacker for the Utes. And so he was an outstanding high school prospect.
He leads this defense in tackles, and didn't get a chance to mention, but Dave Kruger was the young man who applied that pressure to make Moore get rid of that football.
Titus Young is very dangerous back deep for the Broncos. Here he comes from the 10-yard line now. And he just banged into that coverage man. It's like he wanted to take him on. And the receivers, the defensive backs, have been trash talking all night.
All week.
Yeah, that's true.
It continues.
Yeah. Tom Rinaldi, Kyle Bronsman, I know you've been watching that story. What a heartbreak for the young man dropping that fake punt pass.
And, you know, Kyle Bronsman has been an important part on gadget plays in special teams in the past. He threw a key pass for a key first down in a bowl game a couple of seasons ago. But right there, wide open, dropped the pass, as you said, Brent, looked up too quick. Got back to the sidelines, surrounded by his teammates, encouraged 6, 7, 8 of them coming up, telling him, pick your head up, we'll still need you.
Yeah, exactly. And such a well-designed play by the coaching staff, trying to give Bronsman something positive to build on. So here we go with Martin. And again, that Utah front, Herbie, jumps it at the point of attack.
Yeah, they're winning the battle right now. Their safeties are coming downhill. The linebackers are doing a good job of scraping. The Boise State offensive line cannot get up to the second level. And they're taking away the balance. Boise State has one of the most balanced offenses in college football this year. And right now they only have 16 yards rushing and 36 yards passing.
UC Davis, the last team to shut the Broncos out in the first quarter. Second highest scoring team in the country, and this time the direct snap to Potter, and Potter with the option look, and he gave Avery the football as the first quarter comes to an end. So now Peterson is going back to his bag of tricks. We've had a fake punt fail. Now we've had a direct snap to a wide receiver, but the Broncos still trail after 3-0. Welcome back to the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas. Utah 3, Boise State nothing. The Broncos with a big third down to start the second quarter, and Kellen Moore snaps it off complete to Young, and it is first down at the 45-yard line.
Great read here. This is more like Kellen Moore. He's simply making a read on the linebacker right here. Linebacker falls to the outside. That's who Kellen Moore's eyeing the whole way. As he slides to the outside, the vacancy's in the middle of the defense. Makes a nice throw and in rhythm again for Kellen Moore. Such a big key.
So 15 more yards passing for Kellen. If there was any question about the Utah defense, it was that secondary. There's that jet look, that end around with Young. And he may have picked up a yard on that play. Utah was certainly not fooled. Chapman coming up from the cornerback spot. He's a senior cornerback from Compton, California. Makes a good tackle.
And I think Chapman and Brandon Burton, the corner on the other side, I think eventually, Chris Peterson and Brian Harsin, the offensive coordinator, going to try to challenge this Utah defense downfield. Utah really crowding the line and doing a good job of defending everything close to the line of scrimmage.
They put Chapman over on Pettis as they switch the corner over on him this time, Herbie, and Moore rolls in that direction, hits Pettis out of bounds, short of the first down marker.
That time Utah deciding to drop very, very deep in coverage. Chapman was 15 yards downfield, and Pettis just stopped at about 5 yards and just turned around. And when anytime, look at this, they just do not want to give the big play up on this particular play. We just talked about how they've been playing up pretty tight. Look how soft the coverage is. Pettis will take the yards, get Kellen Moore back again into a manageable third down here.
Need 4 for the first down. The Wildcat formation is the look. And here is Potter. They've used it once already tonight. Option look. Potter keeps it. No first down. Not sure about the Wildcat in this situation.
It
Herbie.
was too slow developing against this defense, the way they're flowing. Look at the speed of the Utah defense. Potter takes the play takes too long. Christian Cox, 94, strings out the option, and Potter's kind of running east and west instead of north and south.
And they line up on fourth down like they're going to go for it. Kellen Moore is back, snaps it off. Pettis has got it for a first down. A big grab. Burton was draped all over the wide receiver, and somehow Austin Pettis makes this catch.
Great coverage. The timing, it's attempted to be a back shoulder fade, which means you want to try to throw it low and away from the defender, where the defender thinks the receiver's actually going downfield, but he tries to throw it to the backside. Problem is, Kellen Moore didn't throw it to the backside. Great adjustment by Pettis to make that catch.
So Chris Peterson, for the second time tonight, goes for it. Fumble! They fumble on the snap, and Doug Martin, the running back, saves it for the Broncos. That was almost another disaster.
Kellen Moore got his hand in there, and that's what knocked the ball backwards right away. It was the big foot, of Thomas Byrd, the center. His left heel kicked the ball back. Otherwise, that would have been a little bit dicey with your star quarterback trying to recover that with that big defensive line coming down on top of it.
Now Pettis again is off far to the left side. Burton is over there, and Potter will motion out of the backfield. Kellen going to throw back in underneath to Tyler Shoemaker, short of the first down.
I think that's where they're trying to attack Utah, is bringing the receivers from the outside into the interior and trying to pick on Matt Martinez, 52, and Chaz Walker. Now 32, Chaz Walker's already had an interception, but they're trying to take advantage of them, eyeing the backs, following the backs to the flat and out in space, and then coming back over the middle where they have vacated their zone.
Third down. Kellen Moore has time. Far side, incomplete. And Boise comes up empty again. It is now fourth down. Highwalk, the intended target.
That's where, if you're Kellen Moore, you'd love to have an experienced receiver like a Pettis or a Young or even a Shoemaker be out there. He threw that football well before Highwalk had even turned back to make the turn to try to make the catch. That ball was halfway in the air by the time Highwide had turned.
No field goal attempt. They're going to go for it for the 3rd time on 4th down. Utah trying to get there with 3 defensive linemen, could not, and they pick it up. Now he fumbles it on the way down. He fumbles it in the air on the way down. Manis has it. Utah football is the signal. Chad Manis. Take a look at this replay. I'm sure they'll look at it over and over up in the replay booth.
He falls as he goes down. Does the knee touch before the ball is out? The ball is out, and that is a fumble.
There is the right knee, and the ball is coming
out.
free. No question.
That's a fumble.
Ball was
Great
coming
call.
out on the fumble. Manis has it.
It's a great call by the officials, but another design play to try to attack the middle of that defense.
Another Boise State
Number 3 turnover.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas, Utah. Traveling down from Salt Lake City. Not a bad drive, or you can catch a Delta or a Southwest and be down here in Las Vegas in a short time. And our fans have come to this game. Great crowd on hand when you consider how much rain we had throughout the afternoon. It stopped before kickoff, and we've had good playing weather. This field drains well, and here comes Terrence Kane for a 1st down. If you just joined us, he has become the starting quarterback for Utah because of an injury, and he's doing a fine job.
Terrence Kane has had to come in. He's 9-1 as a starter. He's stepping in for Jordan Wynn, and he's doing a pretty good job of managing this offense and trying to get into his rhythm. A lot of it has been with his feet. They moved him around in the pocket. That last play is the first time we've really seen him have a chance. It's a great block on the outside. Muiahi, the tight end, does a good job of sustaining his block. Kane cuts underneath for big yards for the Utes.
We have 14 total. And that play was dead before the ball was snapped.
False start, number 89 in the offense.
It's self-destructing again. You have a good play, and all of a sudden you're facing a 1st and 15.
Yeah, Boise State can feel very fortunate about not being behind in this game by a couple of touchdowns when you think about it. They are right in the thick of it because Utah, even though they've dominated it, they've self-destructed, like you say.
They've dropped passes. They've had holding calls. They've covered up a receiver on Brooks when he had a big reception. It's not gone the way they had hoped, but they still do have that lead at 3-0.
Shaky Smithson. He's the ball carrier, and Crawford making the stop as we look for tonight's storylines, brought to you by K Jewelers. 3 forced turnovers by that Utah defense. Joe Phillips nailing a 44-yarder. Kellen Moore 12 of 17, but he's had an interception and a fumble.
12 of 17 looks like it's a decent night, but 75 yards. Utah getting pressure on Kellen Moore, and then also doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them and not giving up the big plays.
Asiata's the running back. 2nd down and 14. And the penalty flag flies on this play.
The left tackle got destroyed by Jarrell Root. He went right around him, and the only thing he could do is hold on for dear life and not let his quarterback get hit from the blind side. Of course, Sam Brenner in for John Collin, who is the starter at left tackle. So not only are you down Jordan Wynn, your starting quarterback, but also your left tackle is at the bottom of your screen going up against Root, who's a backup defensive end. Just beat him right at the snap of the football with quickness, and all Brenner could do was hold on. But look, another penalty, and now it's 2nd down and forever.
When you start to take somebody down like that, don't push him into your quarterback.
Right.
I mean, take that rascal down.
Yeah.
You're going to get the flag anyway.
Might as well.
2nd down and 24. Boise in on Kane, who slips away. Throws on the run, incomplete. And it was pressure coming from Crawford again, number 40. So the defensive front against Utah, the Boise State defensive front, starting to apply a little more heat.
We have bragged a lot about Kyle Whittingham's bunch and the way they're controlling things up front. But what we've seen so far from the D-line from Boise State, really what you would expect. Not just getting pressure, but doing a good job of mixing up their looks and trying to create confusion for the Utah offensive line, but most especially confusion for Terrence Kane.
Utah, of course, next year moves to the soon-to-be renamed Pac-12. And Boise State will move from the WAC to the Mountain West. And we've got a timeout called by the Utes here, facing 3rd and 24. Outside of Sam Boyd Stadium, home of the UNLV football team. They'd like to show some improvement next year. Timeout.
ESPN College Football, the Maaco Bowl Las Vegas, is brought to you by Las Vegas. Celebrity chefs, shows, adventure, shopping, and more. Only Vegas. The Lexus December to Remember sales event. Now for a limited time at your Lexus dealer. And Toshiba. Toshiba.
This is
leading innovation.
The Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas Outback Buffet Bowl. And that was held on Monday night. And players from both teams enjoyed that Fremont Street experience. And here we go now. 3rd and 24 for Utah. They'll be happy just to get a couple and play a little field position with a punt here. Kane on a pitch on the option play. And Asiata took on a bunch that time. That was a fine run.
He went right over top of Brendan Thompson, the corner.
He got 20 yards on that.
I know. I mean, you're thinking, well, like you said, let's get a little field position, punt the ball, and let's try to pin Kellen Moore back. And Asiata, for the first time, having a chance to lower his shoulder and build up some momentum. Right there, he goes right over the starting corner, Thompson, and he's still not down. He's carrying people.
So now comes the punt on 4th down. Potter is back deep, waves everybody off. This is a good punt. Going to be down at the 15-yard line. Let's check in with John Saunders. Big John, what do you got?
Well, Brent, we've always got a lot going on, and as you know, on ESPN2, college basketball, it was Texas and Michigan State. Michigan State has suddenly hit the skids a bit. Corey Joseph out of Pickering, Ontario, Canada, knocking down the jumper there. Texas wins. Brent.
That John likes those Canadian basketball players. In case you don't know, folks, John Saunders, a Canadian. You'd never know it. No trace of an accent. Doesn't say oot when he's on the air. Does a great job with just about every sport we've got back up in the studio in Bristol. Here's a handoff now to Martin. Martin breaks the daylight. Here he comes. Foot race. Martin turns and heads for the end zone, bringing it home. And Boise State leads on the 84-yard touchdown burst by Doug Martin. How about that run, folks?
And if you're a Boise State fan, that's what you've been waiting for. Utah's done a good job of controlling things the best that they could so far in this game. It's a power play. The right guard comes around, gets a good block on Walker, and then he gets into the open field, picks up some good blocks from his receivers on the perimeter. And how about the speed of Doug Martin to take it the distance?
Rochford tacks on the extra point, and Boise State leads it 7-3.
It's a power play that Boise State loves to run, and Will Lawrence is going to come around and lead the way. But watch the block here by Gabe Linehan as well, and it just really springs Doug Martin for the first burst, but not the ability to necessarily take it that far.
Herbie, that's his longest career run and the longest offensive play in Las Vegas Bowl history. Normally, he'd be out there on the kickoff coverage team, folks. When he was a freshman, he won the Hammer Award for the biggest hits, but they gave him a break on this one. He doesn't have to cover this kickoff. And Shaky Smithson battling for extra yards out to the 25-yard line. I want to remind you that Capital One Bowl Week continues Friday night Number 24, Hawaii Warriors take on Tulsa in the Share Hawaii Bowl. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN Friday at 8 Eastern.
You just got back from Hawaii. You said they are fired up and ready to go, right?
They love football over there.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
You know, there's some fine high school players from Hawaii on this Utah team. And I know through the years Brigham Young was also recruited very well.
Absolutely.
Over in that state. Smithson and Eddie Wide are in the backfield. Inside handoff, and nothing doing now against this Boise front.
Would you agree it's a big drive? I mean, Utah has handled business, and they have really done a good job of controlling things, but now they're trailing 7-3. You feel like the momentum is on the brink of shifting in a big way and favoring Boise State, considering Utah has dominated this game.
Herbie, right after this snap, I've got your bonus trivia.
Okay, I've been waiting for this all day.
Yeah, I know.
You're fired up.
Well, you know, hearing from John Saunders reminded me of the question. So here we go now. Second down and 10. Kane can't find a receiver, and down he will go at the 20-yard line. J.P. Nisby makes the stop. So here we go, Herbie.
Okay.
There are 3 current ESPN announcers who were first-round draft choices out of the WAC. Who are they, and which NFL teams dropped? 3 current. John Saunders is not one of them.
Okay.
I'll give you a little time.
Okay. Yeah, you got to give me a.
Oh, no, I'll give you some time.
Yeah. I've got one right off the.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Here we go now. Third down and 15. Kane in trouble, drops off little screen, safety valve in underneath that time. Eddie Wide.
Another third down and long for Utah, and against this Boise State front, the pressure that they're able to sustain and put on Terrence Kane puts them in an unfavorable position. Very difficult to execute their offense on third and long.
Would you agree that the Boise State defense has now come on and started to seize control of the game?
I really think the last 2 or 3 series, the Boise State defense, most notably their front 4, starting to win the battle up front and making it much more difficult on Kane.
That's those wasted opportunities by the Utes early.
Yep.
And there's a penalty flag called. Penalty flag thrown. So you think you've got one of the announcers right away?
I've got one.
Wait till we get this call.
I'm thinking NFL now. I'm thinking it's a trick question.
No. Well, the only tricky part of it is you have to think of the WAC past, not the WAC present. I don't know if that helps you at all. Okay? There's one very, very prominent quarterback school that's involved. Okay? There are 2 quarterbacks and an offensive line. Current announcers. Who was the one who came to your mind?
Trevor Maddox.
Yes, yes.
Was that the hard
Back in the studio.
Was that the tough
Do you know
one?
who drafted him in the first round? Here comes the
Patriots.
Exactly.
Woo, I'm on fire.
Their catch back at the 36. Now we got 2 more.
I've got another obvious one. Steve Young.
Yes, you've got it. All right. Who drafted him, though? Which team in the NFL?
Oh, I know this. Tampa Bay Bucks.
You've got one more to go, and you get it perfect. Come on now. Another quarterback.
Oh, my gosh.
You can do
Trent
it.
Dilfer.
Yes, yes. And who drafted him first? He's running out of the picture.
Oh, my
Folks, I gotta
gosh.
get him
Who
back.
drafted him?
Who drafted him, though? What team?
Oh, gosh.
There you are. Fresno State,
19.
and it was Tampa Bay also.
Really?
Yes.
Would not have known that.
No, I know that was the hard part of it. Here we go now. Boise State with the lead and the football. Kellen Moore hands it off. Woo! And Avery breaks free for 13 yards and a first down, and Boise State on fire right now.
Here's another good job of running the football. It was Doug Martin. This time it's Jeremy Avery. Nice cutback, good design, but how about the instincts and the quickness to be able to come back, the vision, and then the acceleration to keep his balance and get upfield.
First down and 10 for the Broncos. Keeping it on the ground with the running game. 3 more yards. Bring it about 2nd down and 7 coming up now for Chris Peterson and the Broncos.
Remember, you and I said early in this game, as much as Kellen Moore in the passing game gets the attention, it's the running game with Doug Martin and Jeremy Avery that really gets things going. And because Utah was playing so well up front, they weren't able to establish any identity at all in running the football. These last few series, they have been.
Toss to Martin. And Martin breaks 1 tackle, but not the second one. It is 3rd down, but he's such a tough runner.
Low center of gravity, really doing a good job of not stopping with his feet. He just keeps moving. Now, what I'm starting to see is the Utah safeties now, for the first time all game, they're starting to fire downhill to try to help out in run support. And Brian Harsin is an aggressive play caller when he starts to see those safeties cheat. That's when they like to use double moves and try to get the ball thrown behind you if you start to cheat as a safety.
Kellen eyes the field. He's got the 1st down. And then some. Busted tackle. And to the 25-yard line. Just an outstanding run after the catch that time.
Doug Martin again, this time out of the backfield. And he has great hands. He's been able to catch 27 passes so far this year. He's just going to get out of the flat. Good job of reading things this time by Kellen Moore. And there's the toughness. I mean, he gets right off of Brandon Burton, does not give up on the play, and Utah better gang tackle to try to get him down.
We have a penalty flag thrown by the umpire.
After the play, unsportsmanlike contact on number 32 on the defense. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Oh, that's Walker, and that is a big mistake.
He had the big interception earlier, leads this defense in tackles, kind of the emotional spark plug, and that's at that 2nd level for this defense. Cannot afford to lose his cool as this game starts to favor Boise State and their momentum.
And Boise State attempts to cash in here down at the 4-minute mark of the 1st half. From the pistol formation. Here comes the hammer again for a yard. Martin right straight behind the center of that line. Bird, Lawrence, and Kellogg the guards. Madison, Walker in on the stop. Here's 2nd down.
Once Kellen Moore gets down inside the red zone, Austin Pettis, who we saw in the Virginia Tech game late in the red zone, they'd like to throw him the ball. The last 2 years, 21 touchdowns in the red zone.
Shoemaker checks in. He'll be off to the right side of the formation. Titus Young is to Moore's left. Avery is the running back. Remember, he's an excellent receiver. 2nd down and 9. And here comes Avery on a direct handoff just to the line of scrimmage.
Interesting call here. They tried a little bit with the motion. I think they tried to get some attention, but with Titus Young. But boy, how physical is Utah in the interior that time? Nowhere to go, and it's especially tough in the red zone to run right into the teeth of this Utah defense. Again, to me, Austin Pettis down in the red zone. There it is, 21 touchdowns going back to 2009, including this year. He's off to the left, up at the top of your screen.
Now Martin comes to the backfield to join Moore. Moore looks to the right. The fade, Young got it. Titus Young, but incomplete. I thought he had it. We'll take a look at it.
With the right,
this is going to be close, Herbie.
Brent, when he caught the football, his right foot touched very close to being inbounds. Was it touching the line? Watch the right foot.
Oh, yeah, I can see the right foot right there.
What
the official had a beautiful look at it, right straight down the line.
There's
now watch this.
Look here.
Watch that toe to award a touchdown. Meanwhile, the field goal unit, Titus Young certainly thought he had the touchdown.
Is under further review.
No question. They're going to take a couple of extra looks at this one, and why not? It is really close. But the thing to keep in mind is it was ruled incomplete on the field. I think I saw the field goal team with Bronsman getting ready Well, here, let us take another look at this.
What a great effort, by the way, by Titus Young. He catches the football, the awareness to know he's got to get that right foot down right away. And it looks like his toe is on the line. It looks like the right call is made on the field. And
yeah, I don't see anything that would allow you to turn
it the
this
other way.
one over.
No.
I mean, you can see the line judge coming right down
there,
behind
right
him.
there.
I mean, he's got a great.
I don't know if there's going to be any camera angle that's going to have a better view than the line judge. He was all over it in perfect position. But the effort by Young, what a tremendous effort.
The naked eye from up here, I thought he had it and had the foot down. Boy, that is close. It is very close.
Big
just an outstanding receiver. You said earlier, Herbie, these Pettis and Young, both seniors, both out of California, which is where Boise likes to recruit, and so too does Utah. I'm talking to the coaches about what's going to happen, the Utah coaches, when they go to the Pac-12 next year. They say it helps open up Southern California to bring some more players out of that talent-rich state up to Salt Lake.
I thought it was interesting, Kyle Whittingham telling us not just Southern California, obviously going to the Big 12, but Texas has been such a great spot for them.
Exactly.
And next year, I think he said, could have up to 21 players from the state of Texas.
I think everybody in Texas plays football.
Yeah, and everybody goes there to recruit players.
After further review, the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass stands. Third down.
I think it's fourth down. I think he misspoke.
Yeah.
I think. Didn't I?
Yeah, that's fourth down.
Yeah, there I see Bronzman coming up the field.
Now, also that you set the stage here for Bronzman has not made a kick, right?
Since he hasn't.
He's hadn't had a lot of attempts, but dropped a pass on the fake punt tonight. You've got to wonder where he is.
There he is, right in the middle of the field for a 29-yarder now. And remeasuring and measuring. And there it is. Nails it. I think even the Utah fans would pull him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much.
Right.
Awful lot of people pulling for that young man right there. 10-3. Boise State leads Utah in the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas. So how many of you have gone up to the top of the stratosphere and tried that ride in there? Herbie,
I have. My wife made me do it.
You did it, and how was it?
Scared me to death. Don't ever do that. Ever.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm a coward.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Terrifying.
Well, celebrating its 6th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.4 million in scholarship monies. The young man who just nailed that field goal, Bronson with the ball on the tee, and Utah's offense needs something here to come alive. This return from the 6th, Paplin Ross, a defensive back, is put back there. And right now, let's check in with John Saunders for a look at what's coming up on the Cars.com halftime report. John?
Well, Brent, as you know, we have Urban Meyer with us, the head coach of the Florida Gators, for one more game. He's with us to break down the first half, talk about his career, and Tim Tebow as well, and how well he's done in the National Football League thus far. Coming up on the Cars.com halftime report.
And of course, John, Utah 2-0 in BCS Bowls, and Urban was the head coach. Kyle was his defensive coordinator when they went down to the Fiesta Bowl, and they beat up on Pittsburgh. And then, of course, the great upset. Urban had moved to Florida, but Kyle and the Utes just beating up on Alabama with a great start in a Sugar Bowl game. So here we go now, because this Utah offense needs something good to happen. Here is the pitch out. Alciata, ball's on the ground. Let's see if it was whistled down. The scrum, I think Utah may have finally come up with it. And you can see that it was called down. Asiata was the ball carrier at that time. Take a look at the replay here, Herbie.
And Brent, when you're a quarterback, you got to attack the defensive end. He's trying to attack McClellan 92, but when you pitch off of McClellan and he makes the tackle, that's a problem for Terrence Kane. You got to eliminate that defensive end. He's definitely down before that ball came out. But Kane's got to attack that defensive end, make him commit to the quarterback, and then deal it and give your running back some room to run.
And that one was stopped.
The play clock maybe caught up to Terrence Kane.
Prior to the snap, delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
Just feel things unraveling right now a bit for Utah's offense. The run by Doug Martin really changing the complexion of the football game, and it's really affected, I think, Utah on both sides of the ball.
And Martin, on that last kickoff return, he made the stop.
How about
we were going to John for the update. I forgot to mention he dropped the hammer.
How exciting is that? Jeff Mayo at Oregon does the same thing. He'll catch a touchdown, and then he's first guy in line to cover the kickoff.
It's amazing. Second down and 15. And now the running back runs into Terrence Kane. Incomplete pass. And it is unraveling is a very good word that you used.
And the rhythm, Asiata, who's an experienced guy, you don't know what happened here. It's not necessarily a huge thing, but it gets the quarterback out of rhythm. He runs right into his back, and now he's got to gather himself. And by the way, that throw to the outside, it needs to be thrown quickly to give your receiver a chance to make a play on it. But when you get nailed in the back by your own running back, that kind of slows you down. Another third down and long situation. Look at this, average yards, 14.5. The average third down distance tonight for Utah.
And they've only converted 1 of 6. So here's their 7th third down. And a pitch out trying to go wide and nothing doing. Brooks. So that Boise defense is just becoming dominant in this game.
Boise State does not respect Terrence Kane and his ability to throw the ball vertically. So they are pinning their ears back, attacking Kane if he's going to run, any of the backs that might get a short pass, any of the receivers that might get a short pass, and I think they're just squeezing this Utah offense, making it very tough for Terrence Kane.
Chris Potter goes back to return this punt. Back to the 31-yard line. Has a seam in the middle. And returns it to the 46-yard line. Well, when you think of all the BCS Bulls that have been played, 52 games total. Now, there have been 48 wins by BCS teams. And 4 wins by non-automatic qualifying teams. And here tonight, Utah comes in with a record of 2-0. And guess who has won the other 2? Boise State. These are the 2 most successful non-automatic qualifying teams. And of course, next year, Utah becomes an automatic qualifier when they move to the Pac-12. Kellen Moore's pass is complete to Young and out of bounds on that far side.
44 seconds. Well, now we're down to 39 seconds for Kellen Moore. You and I had him week 1 against Virginia Tech. They have 3 timeouts remaining. This is enough time for Kellen Moore at the very least to try to get Boise State and Bronzman into field goal range, and maybe even more the way this game is going right now.
Boise with all 3 of its timeouts also. They can use the middle of the field. They can use any part of it they want. Deep middle. Got it. To the 25-yard line is Shoemaker.
Great illustration of Kellen Moore. Looks like he's just making his call, but he sits in that pocket, waits for the play to develop. Still, he's got 3 timeouts. He gets the play called up at the line of scrimmage.
The smoothness of Kellen Moore. Again middle. Touchdown. Boise State. Shoemaker.
Those last 2 plays are symbolic of the entire year that Boise State has enjoyed with Kellen Moore. He throws his football right as his receiver is making his cut and to the inside of that defense.
And now they tried to go for 2 quickly, and it backfired.
One of those strange formations, just try to catch. It's like backyard football. You got one guy snapping a ball, guy takes it, pitches it, and he's looking to throw it.
See, Linga wrapped it up. You know, I'm not even sure about the decision. That's why I didn't look at it.
I'm with you.
17-3 is not bad.
Yeah. But Brent, the last 2 plays, let's not overlook that again. With
I agree. Let's go back to that. That was the key.
What he was able to do there and how calm he was. I mean, most people are panicking. You get down to 39 seconds. He's back there. Didn't even use one of his 3 timeouts. He gets the ball thrown to Shoemaker, who's in the slot to the left. Look at the move. Little stem to the outside. The ball's already in the air. Utah couldn't do anything about that. By the time Shoemaker made his turn to the inside, the ball is on him. Kellen Moore just sits there, and nothing better than a quarterback knowing as he sees that ball go right into the receiver's hands, you don't worry about getting hit.
You're at the 50-yard line, okay? 2 plays, you're in the end zone. 2 25-yard pass plays in the middle of the field, and Boise State has scored. Now a short kickoff, and this is going to leave Terrence Kane and the Utes with 12 seconds here at the end of the first half.
Well, things turned around in a hurry after that Doug Martin touchdown. Look at the first quarter. Even though you see 59-58 Boise, honestly, Utah controlled that first quarter. Made some mental errors to set them back. They weren't able to put points on the board, but ever since Martin took that to the house, 217-34 in the second quarter. Kane should just cut his losses here and get to halftime.
Utah doesn't want to turn it over in this situation. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing on the handoff. Eddie wide, and that'll run the clock out here in the first half. 16-3, a 13-point Boise State lead. So Utah needs to regroup. Tom Rinaldi is with Coach Peterson. Let's go to Tom.
Thanks, Brent. Coach, down 13, but really, despite 3 turnovers, you turn it around there. How would you evaluate your ball security, and how do you improve it?
Well, it's very sloppy. Sometimes that happens when you have a layoff. We just got to keep fighting. Kids know what to do, and you know, Utah's a very strong team, very good team, and it's going to be a hard-fought game.
So much scrutiny for Kyle Brotzman, your kicker. How important was it for him to get a ball through the uprights with the field goal there at 29 yards?
Yeah, it's always important. We send him out there. We expect to get points.
Good luck, Coach. Thank you.
All right, Tom, thank you very much as we join John Saunders and former first-round draft choice Trevor Maddich and former Utah coach Urban Meyer in the studio for the Cars.com halftime report. Take it away, John.
Brent, thanks a lot. I guess I'm the only one who's not a former anything.
You're watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed sports history being made. Play like a champion. Play like a champion. Play like a champion. Play like a champion.
Welcome back to the 2010 Maaco Bowl Las Vegas. It's part of ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week. So in the second quarter, favored Boise State takes control behind their defense. It is now a 16-3 lead. And Herbie, you and I have talked about how important it is early in the third quarter. Utah deferred. They've got a chance.
They do, and the way that that first half ended was not good. Not just the score, but just the feeling of the game. I think you're right. I think it's very important that Utah gets something started early to start this second half, but it's going to be tough with Terrence Kane right now, the way that offense is playing.
Yeah, Herbie, the first half storylines, and it began with a little scuffle at midfield.
Yeah, the emotion for this game, like a lot of bowl games, was building for the last few days. They finally see each other on the field, and their emotions were flying. Early in this game, give credit to Utah. Big interception right there by their leading tackler, Chaz Walker. But this was the turning point. When Doug Martin had this run, longest run in the bowl history and longest run that he's had individually in a career, that set the tone to really turn things around. Brotzman gets the big kick. Catch your breath. He's relieved. And then right before the half, the big touchdown to Shoemaker from, of course, Kellen Moore.
Now they went 50 yards in
blink of an eye.
25-25. So here we go. Brotzman with the ball on the tee, and Utah will have it first. Fielded at the 7 by Reggie Dunn. Dunn with a big hole. Dunn explodes, and he's down at the 45-yard line. That could have been a touchdown-saving tackle. Brotzman was over there, and he just may have made his biggest play of this game with that tackle.
Wow, a great effort by Brotzman, but how about the return and the speed there? I think Brotzman, you're right, Brent. I think he got over there and definitely slowed Dunn down, and eventually Iloka, I think, made the tackle, but Brotzman in the right spot to at least try to stop Dunn from taking it to the house.
Now, can Terrence Kane and the offense of Utah generate anything? Kyle Whittingham needs some offense to climb back in his game. Can't just stand on the defense any longer. Kane in trouble, sacked on the first play at the 40-yard line. McClellan and Tom Rinaldi, you spoke with Coach Whittingham. What do you have to say about this half?
Well, when I asked him what the biggest halftime adjustment they needed to make, he said basically everything offensively. We created turnovers. We had good field position. We didn't take advantage of any of it, Brent. If we're not able to be effective in the passing game, we're not going to be able to turn things around. So it needs to start on this drive.
And right here, their very first play after a big return, Boise State brings Jamar Taylor on a corner blitz, and they can't handle it up front, and now here they are again. Familiar position, second and long.
Kane comes back to the middle to the original line of scrimmage. Luke Matthews' first catch of the game.
Well, they get a huge return by Dunn, and then they get the sack, and now they're going to be facing on the third down. And this is where Boise State's done a tremendous job. They put Utah in a lot of third down situations, many of them third and long, and they've mixed up their looks. A lot of times bringing pressure, other times dropping 8. They're just trying to confuse the offensive line and also Terrence Kane.
Yeah, Herbert, Utah's only 1 of 7 on third down. Made a nice throw for the first down that time, and that's Smithson, and they take it away. Brandon Thompson. Utah turns it over at the end of a big play. Watch this takeaway.
The left tackle this time, Sam Brenner, does a good job of handling Winston Venable, but Smithson, who's been the playmaker for Utah, gets downfield, but Jerron Johnson knocks that ball loose, and Thompson's there quickly to recover it. Another critical error by this Utah offense when they've had an opportunity to maybe have a chance to put points on the board, only to see him self-destruct.
Smithson side himself over there on the bench. Avery is going to be the Boise State running back. Kellen Moore is up under center to start the second half. Long handoff to Avery.
It's amazing to see how well Boise now controlling things up front and pushing the physical Utah defensive line. It just, what it tells me is Utah had so much emotion and energy out to prove everybody wrong, and they wanted to get out there and play, and they were playing so well. But the big run by Doug Martin, I think, emotionally let them down, and they've not been that same team from just a physicality standpoint since that play.
2nd down and 4 for Boise. Young comes in motion. They hand it off, and tripped up is Avery at the 45-yard line, and this is going to be 3rd down coming up.
These last few drives for Utah have not come very well. On the other hand, you see what Boise State's been able to do, and that's really been the change of this game. 16 points. They missed their 2-point conversion attempt, but close to 200 yards in those three drives.
And it began with the Boise State defense.
Yes, sir.
Dominating, no question about it. They saved that offense in the first half, and then Kellen Moore and the gang got it going. Now he snaps it off for a nice 1st down. Runs the slant to Pettis. And the big fella, not the fastest wide receiver you're going to watch, but he positions his body so well.
Watch this physical battle right here. Two guys that are probably going to be playing in the league next year. Burton gets high into the face of Bettis. Bettis fights through that little face mask, and eventually the patience of Kellen Moore pays off, where he finds, again, Austin Pettis for a 1st down.
Wildcat formation for the Broncos. Direct snap to Potter, and Potter runs the option with Doug Martin on the handoff.
That's what we saw a lot of early in the game, is Chaz Walker along with Matt Martinez getting penetration and making plays. That time the quickness and the instincts of Chaz Walker paying off. You've got to be impressed with Walker and Martinez both undersized, both former walk-ons, and both leading this team in tackles, number 1 and number 2 respectively.
Boise trying to pick the tempo up. Got a wide open receiver in the middle of the field. Pettis! Fumble! And let's see if they rule it out of the end zone. The field judge looking for help on this one. That will bring it out to the 20-yard line. If it was recovered outside of that end zone.
Another great throw by Kellen Moore.
The field of play went into and out of the end zone by rule touchdown.
No question, that is the rule on the ball going out of the back of the end zone.
What a tremendous throw, but look at the freshman Bleckett right here, knocks that football loose before he gets into the end zone. The effort right here by Hiwatt, did he recover it? That's what they're going to review before his body and before that ball got to the back line.
This looks like it is very close.
It's tough to tell if he had possession of the football. He got to the ball before it got to the back line. You talk about a potential knockout punch for Boise State. This is going to be a big call for the replay.
This is really huge now.
He's there. Does he have it?
Ball's on the ground as he tries to cradle it in.
It's a tough look.
It's a tough. Remember, it is ruled touchback on the field. But on this particular ruling, I do have a question about the officials, because they went to each other. Who had the best view of this? We had one on the sideline earlier that they were all over. I wasn't quite sure about their view on this one.
Brett, my biggest concern is most of these shots, his body is covering whether or not he has possession before his body touches the line.
Any part
of his body touches the line, it's a touchback.
Remember, it was ruled on the field touchback, and it has to be indisputable to make it a touchdown.
How about Bleckett, true freshman, who's had such a great year. High school quarterback, still learning how to become a great college player, but for a true freshman from California at 6'2", 200 pounds.
This is a game changer.
Yes, it is.
This play. This is huge. The throw is right on the money. Pettis moving in the middle, and watch the youngster Herbie's described come from behind and just whack it away.
Perfect technique. That's all you can do at that point as he's getting ready to go into the end zone. That's probably about the best look.
Hiwatt was working the back of the end zone. He's the youngster who recovered the ball.
But Brad, I can't imagine with the call on the field being touchback. I haven't seen anything yet to make me feel like, oh, it's definitely recovering. It's definitely a touchdown.
I agree.
On the field of a touchback stand.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There was nothing there.
Pac-10 officials
that was a tough
all over it tonight.
Yes,
They've had some tough calls.
Tough calls.
They've been right both times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the fourth, Herbert. That is the fourth Boise State turnover of this football game.
That's what's really kept Utah in this football game.
Look at that. Had only 15 all season. And tonight, 4, which speaks to the Utah defense. But they're trying to do it all by themselves. The offense has got to help them.
Terrence Kane in this passing game has pretty much been non-existent. They've got to be able to run the football to be able to help him out.
He's got 2 men in pursuit, and he's going down at the 5-yard line. Venable. What a fine young player he is. You really wonder if he's going to be able to make it at the next level. He's got everything you want. May not quite measure up in the speed category, who knows, but what a football player.
Brett, look at all the blue jerseys within about 5 to 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. They're not fearing Kane in this passing game at all. They're locking the outside receivers with their corners, and they're putting their other 9 defenders on the short passing game and the running of Kane in these backs. And until they make them pay for that in some way, there's nothing you can do right now to slow down Boise State from just pinning their ears back and attacking Terrence Kane.
Rush 3.
So they've
got to go deep down the right side and incomplete. Pass was intended for Christopher, and that's the first time that they've gone there. Taylor is number 21, the corner.
Where the official reached into his pocket as if he was going to pull the flag out. Christopher finally gets a chance to get involved in the game. And because of the defensive back, Taylor's head is turned back towards the football. He's entitled to the football as much as Christopher. That's the difference. If his head was not looking at the ball, you could call pass interference there. But his head was in position. It's a good no call by the official.
Now it is 3rd and a bunch again for Kane, and they run that inside handoff this time. And out to the 20-yard line is Asiata.
What, 3rd and 21?
Let's take a look at this. What Herbie's telling you.
The previous play, the official thought about it. Look at him in the back watching the play. He's thinking, this might be, let me reach for that flag. And then he thought, you know what? That defensive back was in good position there, and we're not going to make the call. But once again, Utah on 3rd and long and sets up the punt team.
A bit of pressure this time, and Potter with the fair catch at the 45-yard line. Well, Utah forces a turnover. We've got a timeout. We welcome you back to the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas. 16-3, Boise State leading. A reminder on Christmas Day, get those presents opened early. Lots of hugs for the family, and then settle in at noon. 5 NBA games coming your way on ESPN and ABC. That'll be highlighted at 5 Eastern on ABC when LeBron James comes to Los Angeles for the first time as a member of the Miami Heat. So here we go. Kellen Moore and the Broncos with a 13-point lead and the ball. And Avery, an excellent receiver in a foot race, has a first down across the 40-yard line.
Good patience by Moore, and I tell you, Brent, Avery is such a good complement to Doug Martin's physical style of running. He has such acceleration when he catches a screen or he gets the ball out in space. He gets downfield in a hurry, and it just gives that defense a different look and a different speed to deal with coming out of the backfield.
Well, Utah has forced 4 turnovers here, but they haven't been able to capitalize, and now they face heat again. Out comes Kellen Moore, and this is complete to Pettis. Wide open coming across the field, and the Broncos are in business in a red zone.
Wide open coming across the field. When you have a receiver coming across the field all the way from one side to the other, what do you need? Protection. Offensive line does an outstanding job of giving him the time. Look at him. He's back there. He looks left. He looks right. He bounces back again and finally finds Pettis in the open space to the left.
Great bootleg action by Kellen Moore. In zone, incomplete. Fooled everybody in the stadium. Paul was the target, and he had him. When you talk about play-action quarterbacks, you point right at number 11. He's really good with the ball.
Watch how open Poe is up at the top. I mean, he's open right now. This is something you'll never see. Kellen Moore miss a wide open receiver. He wants him covered. He's not used to somebody being this open. His body actually was falling to his left. And Poe should make that catch. But still, not as perfect throw as you would expect to see from Kellen Moore.
And on second down, back to the middle. He goes. Touchdown, Pettis. What a pair of hands Pettis has.
What a lethal combination over the years, Kellen Moore to Austin Pettis. And between the accuracy and the decision-making of Kellen Moore, and then Pettis and the timing of his routes, kind of like a Chris Carter type of receiver where he doesn't have that blazing speed, but he can sit in a hole and find the open spot. Just has a knack for always finding the opening.
Not going to attempt any two-point wizardry here. They tack on the extra point, and it's a 20-point Boise State lead. 23-3, and Utah desperately in search of some offense.
ESPN College Football, the Maaco Bowl Las Vegas, is brought to you by Las Vegas. Celebrity chefs, shows, adventures, shopping, and more. Only Vegas. The GMC Holiday Event. Get the job done right this season with a GMC Sierra. And the Touchdown Big Box. Only at Taco Bell.
The Goody Two Shoes Foundation event was held Monday morning, providing 300 disadvantaged children from the Las Vegas area with shoes, socks. Kids selected their shoes with the help of the Utes and the Broncos. And the kids just love meeting some of the players, receiving shoes and socks. That's just a great foundation. So here we go. Bronson with the ball on the tee. Utah struggling. Reggie Dunn. Remember, he had a big-time return. He's back with Tamplin Ross, the safety. This one will be fielded at the 19-yard line and punched out of bounds at the 36 is Reggie Dunn, and there's a penalty flag. There's been too much trash talking in this game, to tell you the truth.
It's a good example for other teams playing in other bowl games where the trash talking and all the hype, that doesn't get it done. Execution gets it done.
Yep.
Technique, execution, doing what you're supposed to do. That's what, for 4 quarters, that's what's going to win.
That's the first Boise State penalty, incidentally, since the first quarter, Herbie. When you look at...
There's no foul in the play, so they hit out of bounds. First down.
So they pick it up, and there is no penalty against them.
Both teams have been on the edge all night. It started when the two teams ran onto the field. And you know, the officials have done a good job of controlling things. When I was on the field before the game, I even brought that up. You guys ready for it to get a little chippy? You mentioned the receivers and the defensive backs have been going at it, but the officials have tried to contain it the best they can.
Kane, Eddie wide on that inside pitch to the 40-yard line, and Percy making the stop for the Broncos.
Anything they can do to try to find some space. Again, when you're not running the football and you're self-destructing, you're facing a lot of second and third and long situations. Either you're going to have to hit something in the vertical passing game to make Boise State back up, or you've got to rely on that big offensive line. Even though Boise State has the numbers at the line of scrimmage, you still have to be able to run the ball.
Utah only has 110 total yards in this game. Now Kane changes up the play. Boise brings a little bit of heat on this running play, and breaking free, Eddie wide.
There's the big offensive line we just talked about. There's the push for the first time that we've seen in a long time. Interesting enough, the pistol formation pistol formation, which Nevada ran and gave them problems. It's about the second or third time we've seen it. You can see that Boise State right away makes an adjustment to that formation, and it opens up for a big run that time for wide.
That's a 24-yard gain. They stay on the ground. There's a penalty flag thrown. There's a 12-yard gain on the play, but a penalty flag. Eddie Wide, the ball carrier again, and was that the left side of that line?
Sam Brenner, the left tackle, who's in for John Cullen. I think they may have caught him. He was pulling on the play.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both on the offense. Holding number 74, that's declined. Holding number 72, that's accepted.
Both guys on the left side.
Penalty, first down.
Both the guys that were pulling from the left side. And it was a good run. I mean, I know the holds probably helped, but the left side of the line, Brenner and Schlotteroff, watched him on the left side come around. They both hold. They decline the first one right there, and they take the one at the top with the guard, Schlotteroff, holding. Yeah, that hold might have had something to do with that play opening.
First down and 20.
First and 20.
Asiata's back there with Smithson. Kane keeps it himself and gets back just short of the original line of scrimmage.
That quarterback running game could help them maybe get the running game going along with the pistol. You could see the first 8 games when Utah was humming. They were ranked number 5 in the BCS standings, 45 points a game. Their running game was carrying the day along with a very physical defense. And they lost to TCU and Notre Dame. Their last 4 games, they've not been able to run the ball. And without your starting quarterback, Jordan Wynn, running the ball is going to be essential if they want to try to get back into this game.
Fumble, Terrence Kane turns it over. Instead of falling on the ball quickly and Billy Wynn comes up with it. That is a young man who played high school football right here in Las Vegas, and he recovers the fumble and extinguishes the attack.
Self-destruction, mental errors. Quarterback Kane, who's played 11 games as a starter, just the mesh point with Asiata. There's a little bit of a problem there. The ball goes to the ground, and as soon as it goes to the ground, Kane should just get on top of the football. He tries to pick it up and run with the football, and then he can't be able to bring it in, and Wynn eventually picks it up for the recovery.
Martin in at the running back spot. Play action on first down. Diving reception at the 45-yard line by Austin Pettis.
I hope when people evaluate Austin Pettis, they don't get caught up in his 40 time or his bench press or his vertical. He's a football player. He played basketball in high school. He's a tremendous athlete. He just catches the football. He gets his hands underneath, uses his legs, whatever it takes for another big catch. Well, they're going for the jugular, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Draw play with Martin. Here comes the hammer. Breaks free. Cuts back. And he's across the 15-yard line. He's had 2 brilliant runs tonight. One for a touchdown, and then this 32-yarder.
Taplin Ross, the safety, should be ashamed of himself coming up in run support 33. The first place that when you start to feel sorry for yourself, it shows up in tackling. It shows up in your effort as a defense. Are you telling me this is the same Utah defense that we watched play in the first quarter?
Sticking with it on the ground. Well, one of the things about in defense of the defense, they just haven't had any help. And
sure.
They've been out in the field.
I think
been
that's
under fire all game
and
long.
that's discouraged them probably as much as anything.
Exactly.
Not getting any help from Terrence Kane in that offense.
2nd and 8. This one's slowly getting out of control. Paul, the fullback, read pretty well by the Utes that time. So it'll bring up 3rd down. and you would expect him to go back to either Austin Pettis or Titus Young. And however, do not overlook Shoemaker.
And you also have Efall, the tight end, who he likes to throw.
Oh, by the way, there's a kid named Avery who slips out of that backfield occasionally, too.
That was almost like, okay, it's second down. Let's give Paul a chance here to pick up a yard before we throw this touchdown pass here.
Third down and 8. Kellen's looking for it. Comes back to the right. Now he's in trouble, going to take off. And he'll step out of bounds. So it could be Bronzman time. And here he comes.
Great coverage that time downfield. Chaz Walker took away the tight end who he was trying to dial up there, Efall. But Walker does a good job taking it away and forces Kellen Moore to just try to pick up a few yards on the scramble there. Good defense that time by Utah.
Bronzman looking for his second consecutive field goal here in the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas. This from 27 yards out, but he's on that left hash, and that has troubled him. Blocked. Utah blocks it, picks it up on the move now. That's Walker, the linebacker, and Bronzman bumps him out of bounds. Again, the defense comes up with a play that may have saved them. Taplin Ross blocked it, and Walker picks it up. Here's the block. But the question is, hello, offense. Are you at home? Can you help us? We're doing all we can. Boise State leads Utah by 20, 23-3. And a reminder that Capital One Bowl week continues Thursday night. San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. Navy against San Diego State if they can dry out the field and the parking lot. Just savage rains attacking San Diego in Southern California. Scheduled for Thursday night at 8. Asiata is the running back. During commercial, Herbie's pointed out that there were some good running holes, and they're going to come right back to it, Herbie, with Asiata, and he's across the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I thought until Terrence Kane dropped the ball, and there's Jordan Wynn, their starting quarterback with the black hat on. You can see the experience, 17 touchdown passes, completed 62% of his passes, but just his threat and being able to read a defense and make good decisions throwing the ball. Terrence Kane's doing the best that he can, but I think that the option attack, him being a threat out of the pistol formation and running these backs downhill right up the middle, which is the strength of their offensive line, kind of got him into a little bit of rhythm there the last few series.
Eddie Wide is the running back for Utah. Fake handoff. Terrence Kane can't step away from Iloka. George Iloka came up from the safety spot, read it beautifully.
And see, when you bounce the ball to the outside against this speed and against this Boise State defense, they're going to chase it down. You've got to get upfield in a hurry. And I know there's nothing there, and he's trying to make something happen. But Iloka is number 3 on this football team in tackles, and he's got tremendous awareness and speed. You're not going to outrun him east and west.
Third down and 8. Kane with 5 wide receivers. Needs to convert here. Steps up and does. Shaky Smithson hangs on this time. First down just outside the 30-yard line.
What a throw by Terrence Kane to be in third down. His offensive line finally gave him some time on a third down pass. He sits in that pocket, shows the patience, and throws it right into the heart of the Boise State defense, right into that coverage. And Shaky makes the big play here for Utah.
Changing up at the line. Takes it out. Goes in zone. Touchdown, Brooks. Jeremy Brooks, and there's another penalty. Hang on, everybody. Penalties have killed Utah.
On the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Boy, the timing of their penalties could not be any worse for Utah. Had a big play to Brooks earlier. Weren't able to come up with a play because they weren't lined up right. This time it's a touchdown to Brooks, and they're not able to come up with it. It's a holding call right in the middle of the offensive line. Their most gifted player, Zane Taylor, the center, just locks up with Billy Wynn right in front of the referee, and he makes the call.
9 penalties. And like Herbie said, the timing of the penalties. Looking for an underdog to start howling under them. First down and 20. Kane keeps it, breaks free. Short of that first down marker, but it was a fine run.
Nice little action in the backfield with a little bit of misdirection, but you can see the acceleration that Terrence Kane has when he has some room to work. And this time he just follows Eddie wide, and the left guard, Schlotteroff, and he gets right up into the middle of that defense. Again, you're not going to get outside. You've got to run in right behind your big center and that left guard.
Very makeable second down and 4 now with that pistol formation for Terrence Kane and the Utes. Pulls it back off the play action. Goes end zone, receiver covered, battle knocked away beautifully by Thompson, but there's a penalty flag. This time he did not keep the flag in his pocket.
They were going back and forth with one another.
On the defense, number 13. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
Thompson's in great position right here. Matthews, ball is underthrown. And I think right there, both of these receivers are kind of going back and forth there. They locked him a little bit. Maybe he got underneath the arm.
I thought
that was pretty.
The receiver pushed it.
I'm with you. Could have gone either way.
There we go now.
Utah catches a break, one of their first of the game.
Just outside the 10-yard line. This will be a first down. Eddie Wide played high school football here in Vegas. The running back there, number 36, alongside Terrence Kane, who is from Houston, Texas. And Kane has time incomplete, intended for Jeremy Brooks. Boy, Brooks is his favorite target.
He sure is, especially when they get into situations where they really need to make a play, whether it's a third down and you get into the red zone. Jeremy Brooks, a 4-year starter, probably the smartest football player on this offensive team for Utah, just because of all that playing experience. So if you're Terrence Kane, you know 85 is going to be exactly where he needs to be on a certain route.
Now Smithson's in the backfield as Wide moves out to the right. Incomplete. Christopher, the intended target.
Brent, I don't know if Devontae Christopher didn't know that he was the go-to guy, but he was really just kind of slow, just lazy on his route. He's the primary guy. He's got to be able to get away and separate from his man.
Here comes third down and 10. Ball just outside the 10-yard line. Kane's in trouble. Sacked at the 19 by Ialoka again. The second time that Ialoka has come up, and we come to the end of the third quarter. When you come back, a decision will be made. Will Utah kick a field goal, or will they go for it? welcome you back to the 2010 Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas, a part of ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week. So Phillips will attempt a 36-yard field goal to start the fourth quarter. From the right hash. No good. Phillips has missed 2 field goals, and all the coach can say is, wow.
Not to mention the touchdown to Jeremy Brooks that was negated because of a holding call by Zane Taylor. The hold is perfect. The kick actually looks like he hit it clean. He just pushed it a bit to the right.
Herbie, we've got a sellout tonight, 41,923, and you can see those Boise State fans. Thousands of them have come down from Idaho. Some great fans in that contingent, and over the last decade they've had so much to cheer about with this football team. So here we go. Kellen Moore and Boise State with a 20-point lead, and the inside handoff to Jeremy Avery.
This Utah defense has to just keep fighting. I mean, as tough as it's been, their offense is at least showing signs of life. You know, here in these last few possessions, they haven't been able to come up with points because of self-destructing, but at least they have shown some life. And you know, Bleckett and company have to continue to try to contain Kellen Moore and all these playmakers around Moore.
2nd down and 6, Wildcat. Avery ready for it. Hands it off on a wide sweep. And out of bounds is Titus Young, the receiver, taking the handoff from Avery on the Wildcat.
Wildcat. You always wonder what happens to the real quarterback in the Wildcat. How about the technique here by Kellen Moore? Like, he's going to catch a pass. I mean, at least a good effort there. What's he doing? He might as well just stand. He's not fooling anybody. Technique, step forward, back.
3rd down. An NFL guy reminded me of Kellen Moore here after the snap. 3rd down and 11. Fires off a 1st down pass. I mean, Matt Flynn the other night played brilliantly in defeat.
Yeah,
for the Green
people
Bay.
were critical in the last play, but he did a good job.
I don't think Kellen Moore is a franchise NFL quarterback, but I'm telling you right now, if I'm an NFL team looking for a great backup to bring along and use as an emergency quarterback, someone who's smart enough to assimilate the offense, call plays on the sideline.
He's got another year, though, to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
He's the poster boy for what you want on your roster.
I'm telling you right now.
He'll help the starting quarterback with the breakdown of the defense.
Absolutely. 1st down and 10. You know, another reception by Pettis. Kellen Moore tonight. Herbie, let's take a look at what he has done here.
Well, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but once he's been able to settle down, it's the anticipation. For a college quarterback, it's very rare to see an ability to throw the football before a receiver comes out of his break. But then he's been able to get into rhythm. He's found Austin Pettis a number of times, one of his go-to men along with Titus Young. But he's really got things going here. And I'll tell you what, if he gets into a West Coast offense, you don't necessarily need that huge arm to be able to be a quarterback that can throw with making good decisions and throwing the ball on time.
He comes again down the near side. Pettis, and there's a penalty.
You got Burton there for a hold, it looked like. Pettis got behind him.
I was wondering if that ball was even catchable, however, but the flag was thrown, and Pettis has been a tough hombre to defend here tonight.
What's tough is he can either go around you the way he did there or stop, and the ball's thrown to his outside shoulder.
Pass, holding on the defense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 1st down.
I think the reason it looked like it wasn't catchable is Burton did everything he could to stop Pettis from getting around him, and he just locked up. See right there, he's just holding on to his jersey.
No question. Couldn't get close to it because of the holding. So they're at midfield.
They've been going at it all night, those two.
When you think about Boise State, it's a team that had only one bad half of football all season long. Potter is down, and right now let's check in with John Saunders. John.
Well, Brent, a little college basketball over on ESPN2. Missouri facing Illinois. Some great ball movement here, and Mike Tisdale all alone underneath, turns around and throws it down. Illinois leading 57-54. Brent.
All right, John, thank you very much. Battle of the Big 12, the Big 10.
UNLV had a big win over Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State had to suspend.
I know.
Two
of their
players.
And Frank Martin was a little frustrated about that post game.
Yeah, he was. Short of the first down.
You do many Kansas State games?
Yeah, I do. We'll have the Wildcats a lot.
They going to get those two players back?
Yeah, I think Pullen's out for 3 games, Herbie. I think I read that.
Okay.
They got some extra benefits from a clothing store, apparently, in Kansas City. At least that was, you know, I didn't talk to anybody. I think I read a note in the paper about it today. But you lose Kelly and Pullen on that team.
Sure.
And you got a problem. But it's a very good Kansas State team. They'll be a contender in the Big 12 before it's over. 3rd down and 5 here for Kellen Moore and Boise State, leading it by 20. Look at Kellen. Run away from pressure. There's another penalty flag. Another penalty flag on the completion. Tyler Shoemaker.
Let's just sit back and after this call, just appreciate what Kellen Moore does in a pocket. I always say, I think he's just sitting back there playing video games.
Yeah, you have used it, yeah.
It's like he sits on the couch and he's got a controller in his hand. He's just almost bored with the whole situation. Yeah, they're bringing a little pressure.
Holding on the defense. That penalty's declined.
I mean, watch his body language. And Utah's doing everything they can. They're working like crazy. And watch Kellen Moore's energy. Feels a little pressure. You always hear the NFL people talk about that. That time he got rid of the ball just in the last moment and put it down to Shoemaker to make that catch. Floated it, but what you couldn't see there is how much time he waited and waited and waited for Shoemaker to get off of that hold and finally get to where he was, where he could throw him the football.
Now 5 wide. Kellen trying to strike again here from the 20-yard line. He goes back and he throws it up for grabs, incomplete. He threw it away. He threw that ball away. He was under intense heat that time. Martinez coming after him.
One of those unusual formations from Boise State that time. They put their right tackle, Matt Slater, lined up what looked like as a wide receiver. Clear down to the bottom of your screen. And you're wondering if that might down the road set something else up for Boise State.
Play action, 2nd down. Fires in zone, incomplete. Had a crack at it, and Shoemaker couldn't hang on. And that was another well-thrown football.
Perfectly thrown football. I love that right there. See him clap. You see just a little thing like that? That's okay, fellas. Let's shake it off. Let's keep it going. Guy just dropped a perfectly thrown ball. 20-yard touchdown pass for his stats. And he's clapping, saying, shake it off, don't worry about it. Perfectly drawn up play. The play action's there. You could not throw that ball any better. And him clapping after Tyler Shoemaker, a young receiver, drops the ball. For every quarterback in the country, that's the way you behave after one of your players makes a mistake.
3rd down and 10. Comes underneath to Titus Young, who's got that speed, got the 1st down. To the 6-yard line, it'll be 1st down and goal.
Where they just come at you in so many different ways. I mean, you got to worry about the running game with Martin and Avery. You got to worry about the ability to get the ball out quickly. You got to worry about the ball getting downfield. Just puts a lot of pressure. And this time they just get it underneath to Young, who can make you miss in the open field, which is exactly what he did there to the freshman, Brian Bleckett.
th play coming of this drive. Fires, incomplete. Too high.
I know that if you look at Boise State, Chris Peterson deserves almost all the credit. I mean, he's as a head coach, but talking to him, we've had them 3 times. Brian Harsin, the offensive coordinator from Boise State, has a lot to do with the game plan and the play calling. He handles it. And I'll tell you, if I were looking as one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, I would put Brian Harsin's name right up there.
Shoemaker is out wide. They come back with the handoff to the 5-yard line. Martin, the ball carrier. And it'll be 3rd down and goal. And here is where you can count on number 2, Mr. Pettis, big time. Let's see if he's on the field and where they might put him. But he runs that quick slant. Herbie, we've had that play.
The slant or the fade.
Against Virginia Tech.
Yep.
He ran it late in that game.
What he does is he waits to see if the corner's to the outside or to the inside, and he either runs a fade or a slant, depending on how he is. He's at the bottom.
In fact, they're going to let him throw it, and he can do this. Looking in zone, deflected. He goes back and gets it. Are you kidding me?
If he would have caught that and scored, they would have probably added that to the playbook.
That's unbelievable.
And you're right, he's 3 for 3 with 2 touchdown passes.
He had a man open.
Oh, he did. If he would have put a little bit of air under that, it would have gone right over top of Burton and right into the hands of Tyler Shoemaker.
He's a gamer, folks. That's all you can say about him.
Yep.
"21-yarder, Bronzman from the right hash. Good.
Mid-season form tonight. Looking good.
Boise State leads it by 23. 8:49 remaining in fabulous Las Vegas. Well, Capital One Bowl Week continues Friday night. Number 24 Hawaii takes on Tulsa in the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl from Honolulu. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN Friday at 8 Eastern Time. And Boise State with Bronzman will kick it off. And Utah will attempt to do something with the football once again, trailing 26-3. Reggie Dunn is back deep along with Taplin Ross. There's Reggie.
Bronzman's got to feel much better about himself and a way to end his career after what happened at the end of the regular season, to be able to come into a bowl game and hit a few kicks.
Broke the record, Herbie, for scoring by a kicker.
Yeah.
In the NCAA games. This one's going to be fielded on the 9 by Taplin Ross, the safety. Big hole. Taplin Ross down at the 45-yard line. And there is an injured Boise State player. We'll take a break and sort things out here. So the young man was shaken up on the coverage team at about the 35-yard line. So let's take a break and we'll be right back.
ESPN College Football, the Maaco Bowl Las Vegas, is brought to you by Maaco, your collision repair and auto painting experts. You're going to love doing business with us. The Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet? And the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event, where you can drive away in a VW for practically just your signature.
Well, all the activities here in Las Vegas leading up to the Maaco Bowl. Mascots enjoying themselves here. And the young man, Matt Kaiserman, a sophomore running back, Napa, Idaho, still down on the field. He's been moving his hands and legs, but he's being tended to down there. And you can see the looks of concern on the part of his teammates over there on the sideline. And right now, let us send you to John Saunders in our studio.
The SportsCenter in-game, the Poinsettia Bowl, is supposed to be played tomorrow night at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, but there is a look at the stadium completely flooded, the parking lot as well. It's probably a good thing that Navy's playing in the game. They'll be prepared for this. San Diego State, not so sure. They're told they're pumping the water out. The game will be ready to be played. Brent.
All right, John. Look forward to the continuation of the bowl games. And Kaiserman now sitting up. very good sign. Teammates all up applauding. And the Utah players up also.
Always good to see a player get up from a hit like this. Here's Greg Bird, who's just basically eyeing him up the whole way and then just lowers the boom. You know, it's one of those hits that you see on special teams where the return man gets a little bit of a seam, and the guys that are trying to chase him take that turn without being able to see where they are. And a lot of times a big block can lower the boom. So Kaiserman up on his feet. Boy, that is a great sign, obviously, for his family and for his teammates. It was a big hit.
So it'll be first down for Utah. They trail it 26-3, just unable to sustain the offense. They've had their moments, especially back in the first half, but the opportunities were wasted. They have only 169 yards of offense to Boise's 491 yards. Inside handoff to Wide. He's to the 48-yard line on first down. Good first down run.
Yep. Again, getting behind Zane Taylor, the center, and Schlotteroff. Anytime they've had success running, it always does seem like it is, even though it's the strength of Boise State's defense and Billy Wynn and Chase Baker, because that's their own strength. That's where they've had their best chance of running the football. They've not been able to get on the perimeter against these defensive ends that have been able to set the edge, and the safeties and linebackers that are flowing to the football.
Wide now, motions out, and that leaves Smithson in the backfield. Kane throws to the safety valve wide, and Wide battles for the first down. Into Boise territory at the 41-yard line. Well, we just heard John Saunders talking about this game as we broke away of the Poinsettia Bowl, and it is on for Thursday night at 8 p.m. I thought he had a great line, seeing the flooding in that field that the Naval Academy is playing there. They'll be able to handle the wet conditions, and of course our DirecTV bus is on its way to San Diego and then down to Arizona. The national championship game on January 10th between Oregon and Auburn. And on this first down, Billy Wynn makes the stop on Wide. A couple of Vegas youngsters down there meet.
You have to be impressed with Eddie Wide and Matt Asiata, because of Asiata was the guy last year until he tore his ACL in week 4. It kind of opened up the door for Eddie Wide last year. Asiata fought hard to get back this year, and the two of them split duties. One of them the power back, and Asiata, and Wide a little bit more quickness and space. He's had more of a role tonight running the football.
Kane looks in that direction, and he has got Smithson dropped it going out of bounds.
And again, we talked about the penalties have hurt Utah. It's not the number, it's just been the timing of the penalties. How many times have we seen drops or opportunities in the pass game that had either been called back or have been drops? Guys downfield, that's their 5th drop, and 2 or 3 of them have been balls downfield for big gains.
Well, that illustrates the problems. 2 of 11 on third down to go with the penalties, drop passes, and of course the 3 turnovers. And now they are back in 3rd and long, and third down has not been friendly to Utah tonight. Kane juggled incomplete, and it is 4th down. Smithson. Tough, been a tough catch.
Tough catch, ball thrown behind him. Boise State, against all their defensive linemen just kind of standing up, disguising their look. Not one of them had a hand on the ground. They're just moving around trying to confuse Utah, and then they brought pressure. To Kane's credit, he hung in there as long as he could until the blitz got to him, put the ball a little bit behind Smithson, but still could have made that catch for a first down.
Going for it on 4th down. Trailing by 23, 4th and 9, 6.5 minutes to go here. Kane outrunning the pressure. Not going to get the first down. Boise State football. McClellan in the foot race with him. The young man from Caldwell, Idaho. And it's Boise State football, 6:25 to go, leading it by 23 when you come back to Las Vegas.
No timeouts, 17 seconds. Touchdown, Nevada! Moore airs it out, looking for Titus Young. Diving catch with 1 second to go. No good. The drama continues in Reno. This is turning into a disaster for Brotsman. It is Martinez with the win. Nevada has done it.
That's the only blemish on the Boise State record. They had a big lead at halftime. Brotsman missing at the end of regulation after that great pass to Titus Young. And had they won this game, Boise State in all likelihood would have been playing in the Rose Bowl instead of TCU. But Tom Rinaldi, going back to that missed field goal, and I've said over and over that it's a shame that that field goal, that upright, wasn't as tall as the one used in the NFL.
That's correct, Brendan. You know, that's been a source of controversy. When you take a look at the replays, it was not an NFL length upright, which is at least 20 feet high, the sort of uprights that we're using here. ESPN, the magazine, in its new issue, New Year, New Rules, that's one of the rules changes that it proposes for college football, that every single upright in college football should be at least 20 feet high. It certainly would have helped stem some of the controversy and perhaps some of the heartbreak, although Kyle Brotsman, by his own admission, had said he did not believe that the kick was good. Brent?
Yeah, exactly, Tom. And that was Titus Young on the end around. And so there is the suggestion. And I think they also have one that they not allow coaches to try to freeze the kicker late in the count before a field goal attempt. I think that one is in there. But anyway,
for NFL and college, or just the college?
Well, I think they talk specifically about the NFL.
Oh, the NFL.
Yeah, okay. I think that's what it was. But that certainly would apply to all of football. But anyway, should be a good read. You got a little spare time over the holidays. You fans out there probably got some pretty good ideas too. And Avery comes across midfield. Boise State working on the clock. Herbie, you said early in the year, and I think it bears repeating, that this Boise State team, coached by Chris Peterson, can play with anybody in the country on any given day on a neutral field.
And the reason I say that, and for people that think non-automatic qualifiers, we've seen them before, it's different this year with TCU and Boise State because of how physical they are in the trenches. They match up against these so-called powers of college football, and they would not get pushed around. This is not your old WAC teams or Mountain West teams that are doing it with tricks and bells and whistles. They line up and they can get physical on both sides. And then when you throw in a quarterback like Kellen Moore, or in TCU's case, Andy Dalton, these guys can play.
Of course, next year, Boise State will be in the Mountain West, and Utah will be in the Pac-12. Herbie, I think we should point out that you have heard from some of your friends back in Columbus that there is a major story brewing regarding the Ohio State Buckeyes, and we're going to get to that right after this third down and one play here. Boise, in all likelihood, trying to pick up the first down, which they do. But Herbie, I think it bears telling our audience what the local television stations are reporting in Columbus about trouble brewing for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, there are reports, I guess, out of Columbus about up to 8 or 9 different Ohio State players involved in potentially being suspended for the bowl game coming up in the Sugar Bowl. There's something about a tattoo parlor in Columbus that was raided and looked at by the IRS, and when they went in, they saw a lot of Ohio State signed items. They asked where they got them, evidently, and they talked about, hey, we give these Ohio State players tattoos, and in return, they give us signed items. And if it ends up being true, then I think Ohio State, the athletic department, Gene Smith is an AD, and Jim Tressel is a head coach. They have to sit there and look at that, and there's serious speculation at this point that Terrell Pryor,
oh boy,
Boom Herron, Devere Posey are some of the names right now that are being linked to that story.
And of course they have a major Sugar Bowl BCS appointment coming up in the All-State Sugar Bowl against Arkansas.
Yeah, and it's all hands on deck. Ohio State has not beaten an SEC team in a bowl game, and you know, putting a lot into that to try to win that game. And you got to wonder how that obviously is the story, how it ends, whether or not it ends up being true or not. At this point, I think there's a lot of speculation.
Well, we can take a look at the BCS bowl game still ahead of us, Herbie, and of course, a whole lot of folks are really looking forward to that Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio,
including you and I.
Yeah, to see, you know, Wisconsin very efficient late and lost only one game. TCU unbeaten, could be playing for a national championship, as you know. Connecticut survived the Big East, big underdog against Oklahoma. Stanford, Virginia Tech,
great game.
Going to be a wonderful football game. And Boise State with Martin. And you know, Herbie, I want to go back because I think you and I both voted for Kellen Moore tonight as the MVP. But I'm going to tell you that young man right there, Martin, delivered the game's biggest play. You said it at the time, but that 84-yard touchdown run in the first half, that was his longest career run and the longest offensive play in Las Vegas Bowl history. That was indeed the play of the night.
And the reason it was the play of the night is if you missed the early part of the game, Utah was controlling things defensively, really frustrating Kellen Moore and the Broncos offense until, voila, the big, long 84-yard touchdown. Completely from that play on, it was a different football game.
Here is the toss play now to Martin. He cuts it up in and is brought down. A reminder coming up next on ESPN Sports Center. And over on ESPN3.com, you can watch live coverage of tonight's Maaco Bowl Las Vegas trophy ceremony. Tom Rinaldi will be down below with that. We're down to our final minute. Utah's 9-game bowl winning streak is coming to an end, folks. On Christmas Day, ESPN and ABC will deliver 5 NBA games. Coverage begins at noon Eastern when the Bulls take on the Knicks on ESPN. Then, of course, don't forget Celtics and the Magic. It'll be the Lakers and the Heat, the NBA on ESPN and ABC. Big Christmas Day. And now Utah's last shot to score a touchdown here in Las Vegas. They have been held to a field goal. A field goal which put them ahead. Canes in trouble in a foot race. Throws it away. Well, you were away. It was one Powerade bath after another. Not for the headman, but some of the key assistants on Boise State. And Kirk Herbstreit suggested that Chris Peterson has a rule: you cannot pour Powerade on my hairdo. That just isn't going to make it.
It's too tight. You know, don't mess his hair up. It's like the Jimmy Johnson rule, right?
He's done a great job.
He's the man.
With Boise State. Win here tonight, one loss this year. You would figure they could be in the top 10 in those preseason rankings next year, and the way things unfold, those preseason rankings mean a lot. So Kellen Moore, the Maaco Bowl, Las Vegas Player of the Game, brought to you by Capital One. He's down there with his fine SID. Max is down there with him.
You see 28 of 38. You think about how the first quarter went for him. Just really caught fire in the second and third.
Right. Listen, the Utah defense was dominating it early. Hadn't gotten any help.
Yeah. And then the big play by Martin seemed to open up the floodgates and got Kellen Moore going.
Right. Well, Chris Peterson wondered all week how the odds makers here could make him a 17-point favorite, and now he knows why.
That's right.
Sometimes a very good Boise State football team. Congratulations to them. The Maaco Bowl Las Vegas winners. Kyle and Utah will head for the Pac-12. A couple of good buddies down there, two well-coached football teams.
You talked about how when we talk about non-automatic qualifying teams in the BCS, these two tonight that went head-to-head are 4-0.
Right.
When they get into the BCS bowl games, they don't just get there, they win. And that's why I think they were so anxious to play one another in this bowl game.
And I guess that wide receiver may not call the Broncos Girlsy State ever again.
No. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
And for all the other players, put your Twitter away.
There's a happy smile by Bronxman. Yeah. Came back here tonight, kicked some field goals, and the other thing that you and I noticed about him, he had a good safety valve on kicks. So Boise State wins another one, 26-3. And let's go down below to Tom Rinaldi.
Thanks, Brent. Kellen, a sloppy beginning to this game and a tough start. 3 turnovers for the offense in the first half. What was the turning point to get it going?
Yeah, not pretty, but football is a long game. I think we always talk about that. It's 4 quarters, and you know, our first quarter is obviously not what we like to do, but we got 3 quarters of good football after that, and we started getting things going, and you know, big run by Doug to start that off.
Yep. A lot of attention paid to the offense, but only allowing 3 points. What do you say about your defense in this game?
Huge by the defense. They stepped up, stopped the run very well. They, you know, obviously the last 2 games we had been struggling there, and they stepped up and made a great statement.
Been a whirlwind for you these past few weeks. You've been in Orlando, you've been in New York, you've been at the Heisman ceremony. What did it feel like to get back on the field and send your senior class out this way, Cal?
Oh, this is what it's all about. This is the fun part. You get to spend some time with these guys you felt like you just got here the other day at Boise State, and they're already leaving. So we're excited. We, you know, they've done so much for this program. We can't thank them enough.
11th career 300-yard game for Kellen Moore. Brent, going out a winner.
Indeed, Tom. Thank you very much. The Maaco Bowl Las Vegas trophy. And it goes back to Boise, Idaho, where Boise State has won it. For live coverage of that trophy ceremony down on the field, log on to ESPN3.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Kirk Herbstreit, Tom Rinaldi, and our entire crew, I'm Brent Musburger. So long from Las Vegas, Nevada. Now let's take you to SportsCenter.
This SportsCenter telecast is brought to you in high definition by Vizio.